Hey, this is Joe at Graybench Electronics. Welcome back to the pedal teardown series where I take apart new and interesting pedals and show you what's going on inside. Today we have the Heather Brown Electronicals Blessed Mother. Heather Brown Electronicals Blessed Mother. Sorry in advance if my voice sounds a little raspy. I'm filming this on May 14th and Liverpool just won the FA Cup, but we are going to power through. So this is a drive pedal from Heather Brown Electronicals. I believe it's her first pedal. Heather Brown, she worked for, I think, Mike Matthews of Electroharmonics and also Robert Keeley. And it looks like she's branched off to doing a couple of her own pedals. So this is, like I said, I believe her first pedal. It's a drive pedal. We have volume, drive, treble and bass controls, and an immaculator control, which is a clean blend. So turning it up brings more of your clean signal in mix with the drive signal. This version of the pedal, I believe, is a special edition. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's written on the inside door, and we'll see it there. Nice silkscreen graphics. Got Mother Mary sitting in the middle there with the, I guess that'd be baby Jesus and some angels and doves, I suppose. The foot switch is a latching type foot switch. In and out jacks are on the side. 9-volt DC jack also on the side. And it is the Lumberg style, not non-switching 9-volt DC jack. It appears to be a red powder coat, but it's sort of a satin finish. It's not like a high gloss powder coat, or maybe it's just, it's just a red coat and no gloss second coat. The knobs are the 1400 Davies pointer knobs, at least that style. That's what I think of it. There might have been, it seems like the knobs, they just all stole designs off each other. So maybe this isn't originally a Davies design, but that's how I know them, as the Davies 1400 knob, which is sort of the miniaturized claw knob. And we'll see in a second, but actually let's just show it now. This has an interesting little LED effect. When you plug in power, I guess we need input jack. Yeah, so it's actually hard to see. Let me see if I can turn off the lights. It's really underexposed now, but there's a little halo of small yellow LEDs. Or, the light that's coming from is yellow. We'll see if that's actually the case. And, oops, one more. And when you turn on the pedal, a little red light comes on to indicate that the pedal is actually on. The pedal does not have a 9-volt battery snap, or you can't use an internal battery, although there does appear to be room for it. And that's likely because the LEDs would be drawing too much current and the batteries would die too fast, and then people would have like a bad experience with it, they wouldn't know why. So it might make sense in this case to just stick with a requiring customers to use a DC jack. All right, that's it for the externals. Let's go ahead and crack open the pedal. All right, so here's the internals for the Heather Brown Electronicals Blessed Mother. So components first, we have the Neutrik/Rian open frame jacks, stereo jack for the input that's going to be eliminating a ground for at least the LEDs, maybe some other parts of the circuit as well to preserve, to not use excess power or unnecessary power. Output jack is just a standard mono open frame jack. The foot switch is a blue 3-pole double throw standard latching foot switch. Kind of gritty, takes a little extra effort, but they work well. Potentiometers are alpha potentiometers, PCB mounted. Going across the controls, we have a logarithmic 10K for the volume, a linear 1 meg for the drive control, linear 10K for the treble, and audio or logarithmic 10K for the bass. The immaculator, or the clean blend control, is a dual gang linear 100K potentiometer. Components on the board, we have the Panasonic maroon caps. We also have a silver mica cap. It looks like 100 picofarad cap there on the board. It's probably going to be in the feedback loop of the op amp here. It's also tied into some clipping diodes. These to me look like, well, they actually look like the inner one here looks similar to that gray band diode I tested in the Klon diodes video. I believe they're just marked as a 1N34A. Someone has these Pedal Parts Plus or Stomp Box Parts. One of them has these diodes. So if you wanted to remake one of these, I believe they have that diode. The middle one here looks like the D9, might be D9. It's one of the Soviet diodes. I can't remember, with the gray and red stripe. Interestingly, these same diodes, you can see them in the new KTRs, or at least similar looking diodes. And the diode on the end here is it's a silicon diode of some type. Let me see if I can get a part number on that. It's hard to see, but it might be a 1N914, which is a totally standard, same as a 4148 silicon switching diode. So likely what's happening here, although, yeah, what's probably happening is it could be the two germaniums are in series, and then the silicon's going the other way. So it's sort of asymmetric, but sort of not. The curves of the germanium diode will be different. The silicon diode, we looked at this in the curve tracing video for the Klon. So if you want to check that out, go check that out. But the curve of silicon diodes is very steep. You start to have a very rapid change in current as your voltage increases, where the germaniums are more gradual. You line up two germaniums in series, you're going to add those 4 voltages together, so you're still going to have the gradual change, but it's going to be at a similar forward voltage total as a silicon. So it's still going to be asymmetric, at least at any sort of snapshot forward voltage, but the forward voltages are roughly the same, so it's not going to be clipping hard on one side for germanium and then silicon on the other, because you have two germaniums in series. That's what I'm guessing. I haven't traced it out. There could be a different arrangement, so don't hold me to that, but that's usually what people do when it's two germaniums and one silicon. The op amp here is a JRC 4558 dual op amp. Op amp down here, or a dip package here, is a TLO72, which is another dual JFET input op amp. The little TO92 package is a 2N7000 MOSFET. We have a protection diode down there. It's going to be protecting the DC input of the pedal against reverse polarity. Got some Nichicon filter caps. Resistors look like Zycons to me. Flipping over the back here, we have one greeny Panasonic cap. The value is it's 100 nanofarad. And that's these two solder lugs there. And this LED here is the red LED that's indicating the pedal on and off. The two diffused LEDs in here are going to be the LEDs that light up the halo around. And let's see, it's nice they got the pot covers on the back of these pots where they'll touch the board. Just looking at the solder connections, it looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit too much solder in some places. You start to see the solder ball up around the solder pad. That's a sign that you have too much solder. But I'm not seeing any where there's too little solder. I generally say a little too much solder is better than too little. And I don't see any cold solder joints, or missing solder joints would be even worse. That looks pretty good there. This LED is a little off kilter, which isn't a big deal. It just looks a little crooked from in here. Oh, now one thing that's a big pet peeve of mine, and I talk about this in the Ion Effects kit build we did, the Luna, is whenever I see sockets off kilter, it bothers me so much. It's not a big deal. I'm sure this is going to work fine. It's not going to cause any problems. But you can see there that the socket is sort of crooked compared to the board. It's tilted up this way. And it bothers me so much. It's not a big deal, I don't think. But, man, it's hard to look at for me. This one a little bit too is crooked this way. Yeah, I don't want to make it a big deal as it is, but it does bother me. So that's one thing. The socket, it wasn't being pushed down when it was soldered in, and so it just kind of floated up. So that's the PCB. Let's just have a look at the enclosure. I just want to look at those little drill holes. I'll tell you what, those are really tiny holes. I definitely don't have a drill bit that tiny. It wouldn't surprise me if Heather Brown, being, coming from working for EHX and Robert Keeley, if she had like an in-tried track on getting milled enclosures, because you would need a pretty stable setup, more than just like a home bench drill press, if you want to be drilling these holes for the illumination around the halo and the indication that the pedal's on. You would need a really stable drill press setup, or you're going to be breaking bits left and right when you're using a drill bit this small. So my guess is that's probably done at like a machine shop, or someone professionally doing enclosures. I'd be interested to hear about that. If that's being done by hand or even by like a home drill press, that'd be really impressive. I'd like to maybe set up my drill press however they have it, because I would break those drill bits probably every other enclosure. All right, so that is the Heather Brown Electronicals Blessed Mother. Let's go ahead and put the pedal back together. A little side note while I'm doing replacing these little pieces of hookup wire for the DC jack, which I had to remove because it's an inside nut, so you gotta do something about that. In this case, the wires are really short, so I just cut them and pulled them out. But anyway, there's different kinds of solder wick, and some of them have no clean resin or rosin impregnated into the copper braid, and some have just standard rosin. And this rosin can eat away at the copper traces on PCBs. So this stuff works better and it doesn't stink, but it can eat away at the copper traces on PCBs. So you can use it on PCBs, you just have to be diligent about cleaning it off. So you just take a Q-tip or other cotton swab and put a little bit of isopropyl alcohol on there and just scrub it down real good. It cleans up that leftover rosin right away. I can also see that they use no clean solder, flux core solder for the rest of the PCB, which is good. That doesn't eat away the copper traces the same way the standard ChemWick stuff does. So just going to finish cleaning up these solder pads, and we'll put in new little jumper, little hookup leads, and I'll put the pedal back together. All right, I hope you enjoyed the teardown of the Heather Brown Electronicals Blessed Mother. If you have any questions or recommendations for a pedal you want to see on a future teardown episode, let me know in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate you hitting the like button and subscribing, and hit the notification bell if you want to know when I make a new video. I am Joe from Graybench Electronics. Thank you for watching.